Good afternoon, everybody. Today we're going to be talking about rate and unit rate. These are very similar things in that a unit rate is obviously a rate, but not all rates are always unit rates. So a rate is a ratio that compares two quantities with different units of measure. A unit rate is a rate where the second measurement or amount is 1 unit. So an example of a unit rate could be that for every 1 foot, there are 12 inches. That's a unit rate. We are comparing two quantities with different units of measure, feet and inches. This is a unit rate because it's got one of the sections, one of the numbers is 1. We're going to start talking about unit rate right here in this middle column on your note sheet, where we're going to be using a model. For example, it says 18 cookies were evenly distributed between 3 people. Use the model to find the unit rate. The unit rate would be each person gets blank number of cookies. So I'm going to be splitting up 18 between 3. I know that 18 divided by 3 is 6. So I need 6 cookies in each box, which represents a person. Therefore, there are 6 cookies per person. I know that to be true because I can do 18 divided by 3, which equals 6. Let's look at our next problem. It says 25 goldfish were given away at a carnival to 5 friends. If they split them up evenly, how many goldfish will each friend receive? There's going to be 5 friends. Splitting up the 25 goldfish, 5 to each friend. The unit rate would be for each friend, there's going to be 5 goldfish. I use abbreviations because I can't write very much on this right now. Now let's look over here at this column where we're going to write a ratio for each rate, and then we're going to find the unit rate. Okay? So for number 1, 80 miles in 2 hours. My ratio could be 80 to 2. My unit rate would be how many miles I went in each hour. So I'm going to take my 80 miles and divide it between the 2 hours. 80 divided by 2 equals 40. My unit rate or my unit ratio could be 40 miles for 1 hour. Number 2 says $64 for 4 video games. The ratio here would be 64 to 4. The unit rate I would do by dividing the total number of dollars spent on all 4 evenly between all 4 video games. 64 divided by 4 equals 16. So it would be $16 for 1 video game. Number 3, 28 points in 4 games. I want to figure out the ratio would be 28 to 4, 28 points to 4 games. The unit rate would be how much was scored in each game. In order to do that again, we're going to use our division. So I'm going to divide 28 divided by 4, which I know equals 7. So our unit rate would be 7 points for each game. And for lastly, number 4, it says $10 for 4 cans of soup. The ratio would be 10 to 4. The unit rate would be how much each can of soup cost. So I'm going to take my $10 and divide it between the 4. Now that's going to leave me with a decimal, which is perfectly fine because we can have decimals when talking about money. My unit rate would be $2.50 for each can of soup. Remember, the second term of a unit rate is always 1. It could also be the first term, but in all of these examples and in many of the examples you're going to see, it'll most likely be the second term because that's why we have that per miles per hour. Amount of money per can of soup. That per means 1 for each one. So what you're going to do at home for homework are those 5 questions. When we come into class tomorrow, I'm going to tell you if we need to complete any more of this worksheet. You're welcome to do some more to practice, but you do not have to at this time. If you do not want to at this time, you need to go on and do the 5 questions on Google Classroom.